20s, in fact.
Morning.
Good morning.
It's Friday, it's the 31st of May, it's the start of another bank holiday, but right now it's quite dark and I won't use the word gloomy, but it's definitely blah.
It's gloomy.
Across
I'll say it.
Across the weekend it's going to be very wet, grey and dull. We might see some sunshine breaking in parts this evening, but it just looks like Saturday, Sunday will be kind of wet and grey and dull. So just be aware if it has any effect on your bank holiday plans, whatever's going on. And if there is something going on this weekend that you're going to be heading off to or doing whatever, let us know this morning and we'll give you a shout on the air, alright?
Yeah, we've a busy one on the way between now and 9 this morning on Kerry's Full Breakfast, because Who's for Breakfast is now worth €640. So will we have a winner this morning? You'd never know. Just in time for the bank holiday weekend. All that cash would be pretty nice, wouldn't it? Check out www.radiokerry.ie/breakfast and you'll find a list of the guesses so far and the clues that we've given as well there. Some of the big stories in the papers today. The Times Ireland edition has got a photograph of Michael D. Higgins meeting Jeremy Corbyn, the British Labour Party leader, for talks at Oras an Uachtaráin yesterday. EU taking tougher Brexit line, Corbyn told. Leo Varadkar warning British politicians that there's a hardening view among EU leaders about the potential for a further extension of the Brexit process. That's the main story in the Times Ireland edition today.
The Examiner says no MEPs in South until €1 million recount is finished. So yesterday the doors at Nemo Rangers were sealed, closed up by An Garda Síochána and won't be open again until Tuesday when this recount is due to begin, and it could be up to 2 months before we actually find out who our next the final seat goes to. But the whole lot starts all over again on Tuesday morning and it's going to take a lot of time.
Can you imagine if you were one of the people counting and you thought you were near the end of it? You know, you were on the home stretch there and they're like, what? We've to start again? You'd crack up. A lot of them aren't going to go back and do it, I don't think.
For
various reasons.
Some of them have to go back to work.
One person was getting married, by the way, one of the counters.
Oh, yeah.
So they were just like, I'm out of here.
Oh, really? Oh. I thought now that they'd
cancel the wedding.
I just thought that this is more important. Like, but anyway, that's fine. On a more serious note, 3 women in their 70s were killed in a car crash in Limerick last night, which is a very sad story. A lot of the papers will have this morning. And if you're watching this morning in any of the areas around Douglas or Cork Airport and places like that, welcome to Cork City, because overnight the population of Cork City grew by 85,000 people as of midnight last night.
Huh?
The new boundaries kicked
Hundreds
in.
of Irish soldiers couldn't vote in the EU and local elections due to a ballot box blunder. The Irish Mirror looking into that today. That sounds awful. And that story that Andrew just mentioned, and this is just across the border from us in Loughill in County Limerick, and it's an area I know very well because I often take the coast road to Limerick, so I know Loughill quite well. Very, very sad, devastating news that happened on that N69 road, and as Andrew said, 3 women all in their 70s dead and another woman in hospital as well. So Gardaí in Newcastle West are investigating that fatal crash. So very, very sad, and we're thinking about them and their families this morning. Awful news. That's in the Irish Mirror today. And the Irish Times says banks tracker mortgage fines may reach €350 million. That's the main headline there. And Fine Gael to overhaul strategies after local election target shortfall. There's talks this morning that they're going to be looking at the entire general election strategy as well. So don't rule out a general election before Christmas, lads, because it's very possible. One of the top trends today on Twitter is the hashtag #WhatWeWantRTE. So it started off as a sports hashtag and it ended up being a bit of a free-for-all. So improve the RTE player, which is something I know that most people have problems with. And I love this. Stop hiring nieces and nephews and stop putting shite on TV. God, I really hope I didn't come up in any of that chat on Twitter last night, did I?
I don't know.
Take that one off. I'm nobody's niece or nephew, just to clarify that. Yeah, there's a lot of negativity towards RTE for various things. Every political party was mentioned in it. The last 3 or 4 referenda were mentioned in it. Various TV programmes, and then obviously the sports coverage, which I think is how it has all started as well. Bloom 2019, it's on today in Dublin. I've still never gone to Bloom and I really want to go.
Never been either, yes. Yeah. I saw some of the coverage of it on RTE News last night, and it looked amazing. But it looks like they're going to get a lovely day in Dublin today.
I know, because they've last year at Bloom, I'm presuming, was lovely weather. My brother, I'm pretty sure, and his gang usually go to it, and it sounds lovely.
Last year was 26 degrees for Bloom.
I've got 2 things for next year: Bloom and electric picnic.
Oh, great.
Bloom's cheaper. I'll go to Bloom.
Ireland South we mentioned is trending as well, and that's for the obvious reason that the recount now, where they're saying could take up to 2 months and over £1 million it's going to cost as well. And Hugh Jackman is trending this morning. He was spotted out and about and around Dublin yesterday before his show last night. I saw a few people on the Instagrams who were at it last night.
I was at Hugh Jackman last night.
Oh, did you watch it? You did?
Some of my friends on Instagram and Snapchat were shared, like they pretty much shared the concert.
Yeah, that's sad.
I don't know how anybody gets any enjoyment out of being at a concert that you're looking at like this.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
Plus, I was also, that's the Curry's for Breakfast pop socket, by the way. Plus, I was also just thinking, my God, I would hate to be at that concert. I told you before, don't get, I don't fancy Hugh Jackman, I don't get the fancying part of him, but I definitely don't get the singing part and the dancing. I was like,
Some people do.
I'd prefer to go for a root canal, I'd say, than be at that gig last night. Sorry.
Did you watch all of their stories?
I flicked through it, I was like, it's actually getting worse. It's just so, I don't get it. He's so popular. It's the biggest mystery of all. And he seems lovely, and I'll give him that.
Yeah.
He does seem like a nice chap.
Anyway,
I'm puzzled beyond belief about Hugh Jackman.
We have a funny little family pass for Cry Caves to give away in the show this morning. So it's for 2 adults and 2 children, and then tomorrow you're invited along to a special show with Francis where he's going to upgrade somebody to the golden ticket. So details on that are coming up on the show this morning and what the golden ticket is. And remember, every single time you enter a Radio Kerry competition over the course of the next month, you're in with the chance of winning £1,000 in cash, right? So details on that are also on the show this morning.
1 night, 1 sleep to go until the Champions League final, Spurs versus Liverpool. We're going to be looking at that on the show as well this morning. And looking back in time at the last time both those clubs were in European action. We wanted to say both those clubs won in Europe, but that's not going to happen for Spurs.
What?
Well, not Champions League, like.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we had to go. We had to go UEFA League for them.
The UEFA Cup.
UEFA Cup, yeah.
Yeah.
So, so we'll look back at that. Have they even been in a Champions League final? No,
never been in it before, yeah.
Okay.
So this is going to be a cracking weekend, lads. So, on Spurs!
Right, we'll go. We'll get ready for the show. We're on air in about a minute's time, so we've loads to do. 600 and, what did I say?
40
€40 and Who's for Breakfast. And we're going to do that on the show as well this morning. Have a brilliant weekend, guys.
Coffee.
Bye.
Good luck.
Coffee.